Well, welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookie Squadcast. This week, we're doing chapters 18 to 24. I'm Sexy Leader.
And Sexy One.
Sexy 2.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Let's get started. So this one's a little bit of a long question. Bear with me.
All right.
Ronald,
pay
don't
attention.
hate me.
Okay, here we go.
Ronald, pay attention and don't hate me.
Is this a SAT question? You know he hates those.
Maybe a little bit. Well, no, that'll be the next one. But this one,
gosh, it gets worse.
Yeah, it gets worse. Sorry, guys. I wanted to have a little fun as moderator.
All right.
So
Hit me.
how do you guys feel about Corin's response about being ready to die protecting his squad mates? Does this show character growth? Do you think he really is learning to trust and care more for his squad? What are your initial thoughts on all that?
I actually wrote down this topic in my notes because this is something that I relate to so hard. And I find that I actually write it a lot in my stories whenever a character's in like a no-win situation. And in my own life, when I've been in situations where something inevitably bad is about to happen, and the moment you accept that, it's like this peace comes over you, and there's just no more emotion about it. It's all just kind of like logic and thinking and, well, what do I need to do to make the most out of this? And so seeing that reflected and written so well in this situation, I was like, yes, I relate to that so hard. And as I do, I will now tell the story that both of you know because you were there, but our listeners may find amusing. But last year, for my birthday, we went to Galaxy's Edge, 2x2. And we were having birthday drinks at the cantina, and I ordered the Fuzzy Tauntaun because it's a very delicious drink, right? Now, warning, everybody out there, beware the Fuzzy Tauntaun, okay? So I'm going to tell you why. And believe me, it's all going to make sense in a minute. So we cheersed, we go to sip this Fuzzy Tauntaun. The gimmick of this is it's got this numbing fuzz on the top, right? So I go to sip the actual drink is way further down in the cup than I thought it was. So I go like that, thinking I'm going to drink a little sip of the drink. Oh no. What do? I freaking inhale the numbing fuzz on the top, and it goes straight into my throat. And my throat was just like, nope, we don't like this. Closed up completely, right? So all of a sudden, the inevitability of I'm definitely going to pass out, probably going to die, because my throat is absolutely closed up right now and I can't breathe. Like, not even like sometimes you can get a little tiny gasp of air and you're like, no, I couldn't even get in. Just immediately, and you guys saw this, my eyes just started watering and I just froze up because I was like, oh no, I'm going to die in Oga's Cantina at Disneyland. And I'm going to haunt this place as a force ghost, so help me. But like, as soon as I just accepted, there's nothing you can do to open your throat right now. You are just going to die. So just make this as less painless as possible. And I was just like, okay, what do I need to do? And I just thought about it and I was like, okay, slow your heart rate down. So it's just like, be very calm. And then as soon as I did that and I waited, I still couldn't breathe. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to pass out. I don't want to hit my head. So I'm just going to lay my head down on the table. And you just get very methodical and logical. And it's like, you're not panicking anymore. There's this inevitability, this peace. And suddenly everything is just focused and clear. And I've been in like life and death situations that are not quite as amusing. But the same way, I react the same way. As soon as you just accept, well, this is happening, and, you know, there's no way out of it, everything, like the emotions, the fear, the panic, just flees. And you could just get done what you need to get done. And so I loved that it was so real like that. Now, I don't know what that says about his character, except that it's just realistically written, in my opinion. And I don't know that it means he's grown. I imagine he would have encountered situations like that in Corsac before. And probably this is just his reaction to it. Like, no panic, no freaking out, no fear, just you know, accept whatever it is I got to do. I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna die doing it, and I don't care. So yeah, just wanted to say that I loved that aspect of that whole situation.
I love how you compare an attack on a base to drinking a fuzzy tauntaun. Out of all the scenarios,
they're as dangerous as stormtroopers. You gotta watch out. Beware the fuzzy tauntaun.
It is a good drink, though. It's very good. And you wouldn't have died. I would have done CPR. I was like 30 seconds away from doing it, and then you.
What is CPR gonna do? I still can't breathe. You would have had to do that tracheotomy and stick the thing in my neck to get past the closure. Oof.
You know, no better time to practice than then, right?
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine right on the table? And believe me, I would have. My Force Ghost would have been watching you guys, and if one of you all did not throw some money up onto the counter and say sorry about the mess as you left, then you're not my friends.
Throw our debit cards.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Oh, when I was reading it, what was it? I think it was chapter 21, one of those chapters. And so, you know, when the base was being attacked and everything, and when I was reading about him, you know, being like, I'm going to die, but I'm going to try to make sure that, you know, my people don't die too, you know, and even he got shot and everything. And it just made me think back to that incident where he was so mad that everyone was using his data, and he was like, what the heck? And I just felt like there was some growth with that he just went from, I don't want to trust these people, you know, I just work with them, whatever, to I'm ready to give my life for them, whatever, just make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, so he's grumpy when they have his data, but like he will give them his life.
I really like that. It kind of reminded me like an angry cat. Like I don't like an angry cat, just kind of like kind of like I love you, but on my own terms.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll do whatever for you, but at the same time you piss me off sometimes.
When I feel like it.
Yeah. So it just kind of reminded me of that. But I was like, I like this. This is growth. This is change. Good on you.
Yeah.
For a while, I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to like this. Because it doesn't show him as being perfect, but it shows him as like, he's ready to do what it takes for them. And I like that.
Mm-hmm. Dude, and how hardcore was that fight scene too, though? I'm like,
Yo.
bro, don't mess with Corin. Jeez.
I loved when
barehanded he's taking these guys.
He's like, I smell curly whiskey. He's like, because you are in it. And he's like, what?
You are in a bottle.
I was like, what would you smell?
You know, I'm like, that's how I want to die. In a
smelling
bottle of whiskey. Well, maybe that's why I'm having whiskey tonight in honor of Corin's almost death.
Corellian whiskey. Now your your basic training has to kick in. It's you don't know who's attacking, so you're kind of just like in the moment of things, in the spare moment of things. So I think it's really just like your basic training. So if you
like muscle memory rather than emotion.
Yeah, kind of muscle memory. Yeah. So I think all of that kicked in when the stormtroopers came in, and as things go by, trying to be like I said, trying to be the hero. It's kind of like when you're in a plane, right? If a plane were the mask were to come down, who do you put your mask on first? You don't put it on the people first. You put the mask on yourself first, and then you go help the people. So I kind of guess he did it that way in that sense, but you know, it also played out with a lot of casualties with how it all played out. So
then how do you feel about do you think that's considered character growth for him? Do you think that's just...
Would he have done that in the beginning?
Yeah.
No, I think really like his leadership skills now are showing, he's now putting new traits to this leadership role that he has. So right now we know he's a lieutenant at this point, but like a lot of his leadership skills, I think it's kicking in now. And as events turn out in this, in this book, like in these chapters, like he's really coming into play with all these habits that he's stacking up for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good
Ready
chapter
for-
overall, though. I like that one.
Oh, yeah, it was
Same
good.
too.
Very exciting.
Ready for the next one?
Let's go.
So this one's going to take a little bit of thought. I might have to repeat it for you, Ronald. So there was a quote that Wedge had said, and I really liked it, and it really got me thinking. So I really want to know your guys' thoughts. So this was on page 210. And he said, "Too much of war is remembering the loss, the point at which people cease contributing to this life. They all need to be remembered as more than just casualties. I don't do that often enough."
Yeah, because that was in response to them reminiscing about just times that they'd had with, I think, Biggs, and just things about his life and his personality and stories and everything. And probably Wedge just coming back from this tour, as a figurehead, probably just told that Death Star story over and over, and the heroic ending that all his friends had, and how they got taken out trying to give Luke a chance to take down this Death Star and everything. So he's probably just been talking nonstop about how they died and not talking with people about actual memories from their life. And it's like, yes, they died heroically and you've got maneuvers named after them now and everything, but how often do you remember how they lived? So it's a really interesting thing to think about. And now I'm thinking of, like, what if you just lived a really lame, stupid, boring life? In order to be talked about, you'd have to at least go out in a blaze of glory. But if you live a good life, maybe that's what people will talk about.
What constitutes a good life then?
You're doing things that are going to leave a legacy, things that will leave an impact on the world. So these guys, it didn't leave an impact on the world that Biggs was the kind of guy who would catch you up if you bragged about something but that you weren't actually good at. That's, people aren't going to remember that except for the couple people there, but everyone in the galaxy is going to remember that he was killed taking down the Death Star. So if you do things in your life that's leaving a legacy, that's making an impact, then it's not necessarily going to be how you die or what you do when you die that is going to be talked about. If you've done something great enough in your life, maybe that's what people will talk about.
Mm-hmm.
A living legend until you die, at least. That's the goal.
And it's always just, okay, we've finished the battle, on to the next one kind of thing. And yeah, you have to kind of always go back to look at the sacrifice that was given to your team. Because as I said before, in one book, is like, when we were reading Most Wanted, I said, you have to really look at the past and the sacrifices that were given, because really that's how the rebellion, again, and I stick by this, the rebellion moves on and can always move forward by looking back to the people who gave and sacrificed their lives, for this war. For
as
this
an
battle.
inspiration?
It could be an inspiration, but I think just to, like I've said before, like just to move forward. You can't move forward without like looking back at what was given. And I think, yeah, he should definitely look more and talk about these people more. The more you talk about, like you said, like the more you talk about these legacies that were left behind, whether it be a successful one or one by death, you have to look back at it, because whatever it gives you, if it gives you inspiration, if it gives you the need to motivate yourself, to motivate your team, whatever it is, like you just got to look back and always honor the fallen.
So what you're saying is it's the opposite of let go of the past, kill it if you have to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I thought. Okay, that philosophy is entirely, completely wrong. Yes.
Those are really interesting perspectives. I feel like it's really different from what I interpreted and what I was thinking of. So just reading that quote and the stories that they were exchanging, I saw it as they're not looking at legacy or what they did to get them the title of hero, but more. So when he said they all need to be remembered as more than just casualties, I don't do that often enough. I took it as we need to remember them as individual people, not, oh, he took out the Death Star, he did this, she did that, but more as they were real people, and here's their qualities, here's their life. So that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of he wants to remember them as people, not just war stories or war heroes,
impersonal legends,
Yeah, he wants to remember them as people, his friends, people that he knew. So that's the tone that I took when I read the quote, and then just the way that they were so, I don't want to say casually, but so openly talking about like just how they were on a personal level. And so that's why I feel like he was, to me, it seemed like he was saying, forget about legacy, forget about heroism. These are just people who happened to do something heroic, but they were people. And these are the lives that they had. So that's why I wanted to get your guys' thoughts, because I was like, okay, we're going to have differing
that's interesting,
right?
No, I like that. I like that take on it, because in that case, what he's also saying is enjoy the people around you right now as they are. Don't think about what's the next heroic thing we're going to do. Am I going to be a legend? Is this person better than me? Are they going to be more of a legend than I am right now? No, anybody could be gone at any time. Lou Jane died in her sleep, not in a blaze of glory. What you've got to remember is who they are to you, what they're doing now. Enjoy every moment of just regular personal life.
And I really like this quote because I feel like it could be used in real life situations. So it doesn't have to be someone who's like, oh, they died doing this amazing thing, but it could be someone who died in their sleep, who died of illness, whatever. But the most important thing is not necessarily to talk about how they died, but talk about how they lived. And I really like that because it just got me thinking about how that could be applied to everyday life.
Nice. That was a good philosophical discussion.
So that was the SAT question. So if you guys were Wedge, would you have allowed Corin to be doing something that risky? Would you tell him like back off? Would you be like, go for it, you have my blessing? What would you do?
I think he did exactly the right thing, exactly how he should have done. As the commander, he said, I'll do it. He's got the most experience. It's, some crazy thing, he should be the first to volunteer. But he didn't put up a fight when Corin said, no, I'll do it. I'm already going. Like, it's happening. You can't stop me. And it makes sense. And Wedge knew that because, first of all, it's Corin's idea. So he probably knows exactly how he wants it to play out in his head because he's already thought of it. And so that's what I was thinking as I was reading it. Would Wedge have thought to randomize the juking on the stick, which may have saved his life? Would he have done the calculations as fast on how many clicks away he needed to be when they fired their missiles? Like, Corin already had this all figured out. Would Wedge have had to catch up to that point? Also, Corin's already up there with the squad of Y-Wings, Wedge would have had to go back through the mountain, up through atmosphere, which slows you down, into space. It would have taken too much time. Corin was ready to go right now, right here. So absolutely, I think he made the right choice, and he knows that Corin's one of the best pilots that he's got. So if anybody else could pull it off besides Wedge, he knows it could be Corin. So we've got him in place, ready to go, already with the plan in his mind. Let him do it. We already know he's willing to die for this team. So it's not like he's going to do anything to try to save his own skin that might put the rest of them in danger. If it's a suicide mission, he's already demonstrated he's willing to do that. So let him do that. But I might add, what I thought was very interesting was that he totally pulled a Poe, and I even wrote that in my notes. He pulled a Poe. He said, I got this idea. You both said it's going to work. This is the plan. I'm going to do it. And they said, no, turn around right now. We're going to court-martial you. And he's like, nope, turn off my radio. Goodbye.
Pretty much.
And he went and did it.
Comlink, who dis?
Yeah, exactly. You call me coach. Oh, gosh. And he was like, friggin', and he was like, no, we're doing this. And the bombers were all like, yeah, okay, we're with you. We're going. Yeah, let's do it. And then they went and they pulled it off. And then at the end of the day, everybody, all the bombers, all the other pilots were like, what you did was amazing. It saved all of us. If you hadn't done that, we all would have died. And it's terrible what they're doing to you to punish you. And we want to buy you a drink and all this kind of stuff. And even the commanders, the higher up in the officers were just like, technically he should be court-martialed, but like we need him, and what he did was fine. So we're just going to drop the charges. That is how they should have reacted. Hashtag, and I want to see this out there on all the social medias, hashtag Poe did nothing wrong. And all y'all ungrateful resistance losers that come back and they're all mad at him and like blaming him for that whole mission going wrong. Are you kidding me? Slap him across the face. How dare you? How dare you?
You can also hashtag down below, stay on target.
Don't forget a hashtag new comlink, who dis?
New comlink.
What character would say that? Doesn't matter, prequel, OT, sequels. Who would say that?
Who would say that? Who would say that?
Anakin to Obi-Wan.
That's what I was thinking. Oh my gosh.
Anakin to Obi-Wan.
Dude. So anyway, I love it. I love that scenario just played out way back in this book, and it's exactly how I would have expected everyone to react at the end of it. Not the way that it went when my beloved did the same thing. Anyway, Ronald, what did you think?
I kind of disagree and agree, and I don't know. There's a lot of things that this mission played out for me. Very reading the book and now being here and then talking about it. So let's start with the Commander Antilles. Yes, I'm very by the book, so it's like I hate it when things don't go by the book. It's just like I pre-plan in real life, so it's kind of like I hate seeing things that like throw me off, or that's something that would throw me off of my game when someone or something deviates from the plan. So actually, I said I was going to start with Wedge. I'm going to actually start with Corin.
So you wouldn't want him to go rogue?
No.
Live up to the name,
right?
I think like Corin should have really just stuck with it first, right? And then I think like this is where I say now the luck plays into it, because like you had to touch the medallion, you had to try to formulate a different plan from the plan, and then if C-3PO was there, like how much percentage or what are the odds? Ratio? What are the odds? What are the odds that your plan's gonna work out for you, or what, like casualties? Because like I think from when he first said it, he was just like, oh, the casualties could possibly be one. Really, one? Like it doesn't matter like what you want to do. Like your casualties should have been 0, because like if it's a plan, like if the original plan had originated for you to have a 0 casualties, like your plan B should not have like, or your alternate plan shouldn't have like a casualty of 1. So I was kind of reading it and I was like, don't be a hero kind of thing. But again, you said it did make more sense. Like it made more sense because he might have been closer, where the rest of the the rest of the group was way too far, and now he has to act on the fly. But like you could have seen this, or you could have seen this written like very differently, and we could have been mourning and not not celebrating. So I think I agree and then disagree with Wedge kind of way, because Wedge was really like, oh, I see what the general and the admiral are saying about, this happening right now. And he's kind of like thinking, oh, what are the consequences? If if I don't let him do what he wants, kind of thing. And then it kind of played where it went to young Wedge again, and kind of maybe young Wedge talked to himself. Was like, in past battles, they were successful because they had to do things off the fly or like deviate from the original plan. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm by the book, but like, I guess sometimes in life you have to really just also, go off the fly, deviate the plan. But I don't think Corin's plan really deviated. I think he formulated a plan, and this is where he's kind of getting better at being, a leader to think off the fly. Because to formulate that plan, it was he had to really, know what he known from like his training, his past experiences. Everything had to, had to come back in order for this, his plan B to be successful. And I don't know if I answered the whole Wedge, or I don't think I did. But with Wedge to kind of what you call it to when young Wedge came back and probably talked to himself, he said it himself, like, let him do it. I think in the book it said it this. He's got that altitude.
Yeah, he's got the altitude.
Got the attitude.
And the attitude.
And remember what I said back then in the, in past, book clubs, like, it's about your attitude. I think it was the first episode of this book. It was, you have to have that type of attitude to be successful. And that's where it doesn't matter what age Corin is. It doesn't matter what experience Corin had. It's the attitude that Corin had that made, his little side mission a success.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were Wedge, would you have allowed it? Would you have fought against it?
I guess that would have to be, knowing my experience at the time. If I'm on the level of what Wedge experiences, then I would have to say, as you get older, you kind of, it's hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for people to learn new things, certain people to learn new things. So I think, like with Wedge, when he changed his mind, yes, you have to have an open mind to change at certain times.
But for you, would you have been okay with it if you were Wedge? Would you not have been okay with it?
If this was Sexy Wookiee Squadron and Mino was like, guys, there's this crazy thing, it might work, we should try that. And then you, Sexy Leader, were like, okay, I'll do it. And then Mino's like, nope, going in.
Be like, peace out, I'm going. Would you give me your blessing, or would you
say,
tell me not,
stop,
son, you're going to wait?
I'm coming to do it myself.
Ooh, that's on a level of trust. How much I trust you guys.
So maybe don't answer.
That's the question.
It's.
So if you were Wedge, you have that experience and everything.
I got it. It would be more in the sense of probably not. Like I said, I'm by the book. And when I get in the zone, like there's no changing my mind. And like I said, whenever there's a time where the plan has to deviate from the plan, like I can't, like it just. Mm-hmm. So no, I would have to like I said, I guess I would have to disagree on this one with the commander and stick to it. I probably would have been like Psalm. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I think if I were Wedge, I would have just straight up given Corin my blessing and make some snarky ass remark to Psalm. Just been really petty and been, you know what, later if he wants to fight me, just be like, look, just because you guys suck doesn't mean that my best pilot can't do this. Oh, look, he did it.
Ooh, snap.
I mean, just with everything going on between those two, I'm like, oh my god, I just want Wedge to say something like snarky or sassy to him.
Like,
Put
get
him in
him.
his
Come
place.
on.
I just want him to put Psalm in his place. Like, look, it's not Wedge's fault that you're just kind of lame. Like, that's how you were born. I guess
Poor
it's
guy,
not
though.
really
He's
your
got to
fault
deal
either.
with these Y-Wing pig flyers,
Yeah, but he doesn't have to be such a jerk about it. Damn.
He's such a brat.
He is. He's so annoying. That's why if I were Wedge, I would have been like, have fun, Corin. Snarky remark to Psalm and call me Kudis.
I do love that Corin and Uriel were assigned to like the worst Y-Wing group, which is why they were up where there shouldn't be anything going on. Because they were like, yeah, these guys are like the freshest, they've got nothing. And then they end up taking out a Lancer class ship. And
That
so
was
like these
amazing.
poor like newbies are probably like, yes, this was the best battle ever. And I thought that was precious. And then also, in case we're moving on to the next chapter, loved the little moment between Corin and Whistler when he was arming the eject so that Whistler could get out before if the X-Wing crashed or got blown up by the torpedoes. And Whistler's like keeps turning it off, and he's like, "No, man, we're doing this together." Oh,
That was cute. I was like, oh, friendship.
I love these droids. I love them so much. Anyway,
All right. Ready for your next one?
next.
Ready.
So this one's going to be a little bit heavier of a question, I guess, emotionally.
Geez.
Yeah, get ready. We're in Star Wars. You're going to feel those feels.
Here we go. We are on a roller coaster tonight, folks.
Woo! All right, so a pilot finally died, despite them having been lucky so far. Do you think it's a sign that Rogue Squadron's luck is running out? Do you think their luck is going to keep going?
It's interesting because they discussed this later, I think, in the room with Corin, and it's like, oh, we've had all these missions and nobody's died, and they're like, no, somebody died, don't forget, but they didn't die on a mission. So it's weird. They are still having unbelievable amounts of luck on these missions, that they are engaging in ambushes and dogfights and all this kind of stuff, and nobody's dying in battle. And then even the attack on the base at Talasia was like, should have killed them all. Like, there's no way that they would have got caught if it weren't for Corin having the feeling and waking up, and then Uriel being out and walking and noticing things going on. So completely lucky. And the fact that that only one pilot died, and then, bless them, the 6 security people that were out on watch, and then 3 pilots injured. So I don't know, that's still so lucky considering what was happening, and that they just didn't expect it at all, and it was totally a sneaky ambush.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think they are really, I mean, I was heartbroken, poor Lujane, but, and especially, come on, man, you're a Rogue Squadron, you do want to go out in a blaze of glory, like, and she might have been one of the first ones to go because she wasn't the best pilot, but to get murdered in your sleep rather than to go down fighting, it's tragic, man. That's not what you signed up for. So yeah, it's sad. It still broke my heart, but I'm still like, these guys are just having incredible amounts of luck in battle and out of battle. So yeah, that has got to run out.
My answer to that is kind of like a question to a question. If you look at certain things of like, certain movies, such as like Rogue One, The Last Jedi. For Rogue One, Jyn had her mother's kyber crystal, and it seemed like every time that there was a touching of the crystal, kind of made something happen for them. The Tico sisters, kind of the same thing. They touch their medallions, something good happens, like the bombers are able to take out the dreadnought, or the medallion's good for as a conductor. For Corin, it's this medallion that he has, and I think it's like, and for Solo, it must be the dice. So I'm like, does the force go into certain objects? Can the force be certain objects that give this one character or this one group this type of luck? So maybe that's what it is. I think objects can also revolve around the force, because remember, the force, as I watched in the Empire Strikes Back today, is that it is in all your surroundings. And even if these are material possessions, that's still in your surrounding. And, you know, this is more dear to that one character or that one individual. So I think, like, yes, the force kind of like protects, kind of like, you know, just puts them in this like shield kind of type of form. The force surrounds them, and then so that's why the luck is on their side. Yeah. So
I gotta say though, that on that topic, these tokens, these charms, these talismans that these characters have, I don't think that it's necessarily like an accumulation of force in the object. I think it's that touching the object or having it reminds the person to be mindful of the force, or to put their will out into the universe, which maybe the force responds to, or something that is not necessarily imbued in the object, but that the object is a totem to remind them to connect to the force, if that's what it is.
Think about it, you know, like in real life terms, a lot of people have good luck objects, but it's not necessarily tied to religion or something higher like the force. Usually when someone has a good luck charm or, you know, whatever, it's just their personal feelings. They feel like it's something that brings them joy, something that makes them feel comfortable. It's all about a source of comfort, because they can't always, you know, be with the person that makes them comfortable. They can't always be doing something else that makes them comfortable. It's supposed to be that small source of comfort in the bigger picture. And so that's why, thinking on what you're saying, I don't know if it would all necessarily be the force, because how many people actually believe in it, pray in it, trust in it. So I think at least for him, like for Corin, he may know like it's not an actual lucky thing, but it's that source of comfort during those desperate times.
You guys have any lucky charms? And not the cereal, like actual.
I mean, I wish I had the cereal, man. Those marshmallows.
Dude, don't they make the ones now? It's all marshmallows.
Yes, I really want some.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, I was that kid that would just pick out the marshmallows because I would just eat them. And
just the sugar, please.
For good luck charm, in my car, I have 2 good luck charms that I love very much. The first one is this really pretty but simple cross necklace, because I'm Catholic. I'm not a very good Catholic, but I'm a Catholic. And so my mom got me this really nice but simple cross that I have hanging on the mirror. And then I have these gold pair of dice that Han Solo has.
Han Solo dice.
So just having both of them makes me feel a lot more comfortable driving, because I've had a few accidents driving. Not my fault, but still traumatizing. So I'm just like, okay, just looking at these, or like just being able to like touch one of them just makes me feel better when I'm driving. In everyday stuff, I usually have, I don't know if it's a luck thing or if it's my OCD, but I feel very uncomfortable if I don't have at least one hair tie on me. So it has to be in my hair or on my wrist or like in my pocket, but I have to have one on me at all times.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but it just makes me feel more comfortable. I don't know if it's a luck thing, but it makes me comfortable.
I've got my action figures because I travel a lot. And so I find that I'll get really emotionally tied to things that have traveled with me. So, I mean, especially if I've been to a place that's like really sacred or just really meaningful, I will hoard the shoes that I was wearing forever. I mean, until I've worn holes in them. And I'm just like, I can't give them up. These were the shoes I was wearing when I, you know, did this thing and I went to this place. And so I call them my lucky shoes, and they get filthy and stinky, but like I can't give them up. I've got all these sacred shoes, and then the action figures that I take traveling with me, and put them on everything and take the pictures. One of them being a Star Wars action figure, so to bring it all back. And I don't know, they're like definitely little lucky tokens. I never travel without them. And yeah, they need to get their own travel blog, the boys.
How about you, Ronald? Any good luck charms?
No, I can't really say. I've never had one. And I think I really relate to when Obi-Wan says to Han Solo, in my experience, there's no such thing as luck. I remember hearing that quote to Han Solo. I don't know if it was the first time I ever watched the film, and I was just like, Obi-Wan, I'm with you on that one.
That resonated with you.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think there's any good luck charm that I do have. Who knows? If there was one, I don't know. No, probably not. But I do want to touch back on what you said about Lou Jane's death, and I was really reading into that, and this is where I saw a type of writing that showed me how evil it is that the Empire was. Like at this time, I was just so, in this world where, okay, Empire can't be that bad, but to murder like a pilot just like that, and I'm starting to look at certain scenes of movies and animated series. I'm just like, whoa, like that one did it for me. That's where I was like, oh, now you took the rebellion out of me. I mean, you put the rebellion into me. You took a lot of the Empire out of me. So I was just like, man, that did it. It was pure evil to how they executed Jane.
Definitely.
Yeah, they didn't even give her a fighting chance or anything. Just like, you're asleep, okay, bye. And it's like, God, how evil can you be? So
every time. Oh, good.
No, I was gonna say, and then probably they did the same thing to Andorni, her roommate. That ended up being in the Bacta tank forever, and even at the funeral, like couldn't even stand up. She was in a wheelchair, basically hover chair. So she happened to survive the murder attempt, but she could have died in her sleep too.
Right.
Just, it made me so mad.
Yeah, it made me mad. So every time I see a stormtrooper now, like, it's like, it's on.
That's what I'm saying. These guys almost happened to my character in our story, as some of you might see. Get shot in your own bed. I swear. But what did you guys think about the funeral, space funeral?
That hurt. Like, I felt like I was actually there. And then the fact that, Corin and Gavin were still kind of recovering, and then the roommate who was like basically dead in her chair. I was like, this is terrible. And then, thinking on Gavin's conversation with everyone, and he was like, this is the first person that I really knew that died. I don't really know my cousin. I kind of knew the Larses, blah, blah, blah. But this is the first person I was close to. And I was like, my God, like, it's just painful. And then it just kind of, I got into this weird philosophical thing where I was just thinking
clearly
about,
with
like,
these questions.
Yeah, sorry, I was in a mood this week.
You were just thinking.
And I was thinking about the first time that I really experienced death like that, and then I was thinking about other people, like how old were they, what happened, and I'm just like, damn, Michael,
guys, this is a heavy episode. Sorry, guys.
Michael Stackpole, thank you. You put me in a mood, and you made me feel.
It hits you right there. But I liked the world building of the style of the funeral. You would think, how do they have a funeral in the Star Wars universe? What is a funeral in space like?
Yeah.
And put them in the coffin and then use a tractor beam to kind of push them towards the sun. So it's like cremation, but it's also like a burial at sea, because technically the spaceships are like a navy. So I love that detail, because he writes as if this is the most natural thing and everybody knows how it goes. But to us, this is the first time we've ever seen it done this way, and it's like, oh yeah, that level of detail, that is how you would do it, I guess. And
and it got me thinking, and I was like, wait, but what if their family wanted like the body because their culture did something different? And then it got me thinking again, and I was like, most of these people probably don't even have their families or friends to claim a body or anything. Like, it's really just them on that ship in the rebellion.
Yeah.
That's
or their
only
world
family.
is completely blockaded and they'd never be able to get word back to them anyway.
So it made me think about that, and I was like, oh my God, that must have made them feel just so much closer after experiencing something like that.
Yeah, dude. Good stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's I think for me it was with Wedge. This being a new whole team for him, it's unlike the first people he was ever in the group with, Biggs, Porkins, and Luke in the beginning. Those were more like friends, more like if they passed away or they died in battle, it was like my friend died in battle. Now, as his new team, it's like I feel like when I was reading it, I was like, when he had to tell, is it Oral?
Yeah.
He told Oral, right? Where he or was it who's the one in the back to tank with
Gavin?
Was it Gavin?
Gavin,
oh,
yeah, the kid.
Let me go back to that. So sorry. Gavin, when he had to tell Gavin, it was really hard for Wedge to tell him, kind of thing. And so to make my point shorter is that I think Wedge looks at these pilots not as, as his team, but more of like, these are my kids.
Yeah, they're his responsibility now, not just friends.
And so to look at like when he was saying, how would we honor, the fallen of the new Rogue Squadron? He was making sure everybody was going to be at this funeral. And that's where I kept looking back. I was like, he would ask, the general, he'd ask the admiral, like, are you coming? And, he'd be very surprised if they were. Because it didn't seem like it was a normal thing in the past, but as they, I guess, want to make this probably a new tradition now to honor their fallen, like, is one of the great things that come out of Rogue Squadron.
And especially to build a little camaraderie between the Y-Wing unit and the Rogues that had kind of had a little testy, ness between them before, but are about to embark on this mission of revenge.
Right.
Like, let them have a moment together of mourning to like solidify that connection so that when they go in there to get their revenge, like they're doing it together.
Revenge keyword. I also think like I like what you said that with the Y-Wings, they can also tell the so now whenever your platoon or your squadron ever has like a casualty, a disaster, you could now relate that to other platoons and squadrons as the same thing. As you said, like the Y-Wing, the A-Wings, like all your soldiers, anybody and everybody. Like, I think that's a good way to remember, like I said at the beginning of this episode, it's like, you don't forget like legacy, and you always go back to honor them and honor them the right way. And then from there, then we move forward, and then we, keep this rebellion, keep going in honor of their names.
Yeah. All right, guys, ready for our next one?
Ready.
I think so. With these questions, though, man.
Let's get it.
This one's going to be a little simpler. It's just more your feelings and thoughts. So in the last chapter, they were talking about Black Moon and all that, and Wedge was really hesitant. So considering Wedge's hesitation, do you think their plan for Black Moon will be successful?
It sounds like it's not fully fleshed out in the planning stages. I mean, granted, it's hard to tell because they're not telling the teams all the information for security reasons. So maybe they do have more of a plan than they're letting on, and they're just not telling Wedge. But it really sounded, I forgot his name, Lafrey something, the Boffin that was in charge,
right.
And he was just kind of like, yeah, there's some TIE starfighters and some other things. Like, he didn't even know which type of defense, which ships they had at this base. Like, your people can base an entire plan around which type of ships they're going to be facing. So the fact that he just said, and some others, It's like, maybe you need to take a little bit more time, do a little bit more recon, a little bit more intelligence gathering on this location. But I don't know, what if there's like a window of time that they need to get in there and they just don't have the luxury of being able to go in with all the information. So it's hard. It's a war. You gotta just, make the best with what you have. But clearly Wedge was hoping for more. So what do I think? I don't know, just this setup is everybody's fighting about it. There's not enough information. They've had way too much luck so far. I got a bad feeling about this, to put it in Star Wars terms.
That's fair. That's legit.
I agree with your first part of your statement and then disagree. So for me, reading these, these last 8 chapters was really I disagree and I agree with that, and me disagreeing and going back and forth. But until we get to this part, this is where I was talking about, like, how Wedge can clearly look at what defenses were there and formulate a plan. Like, his own plan already was like, first of all, he was to ask, he went out of line and then asked all these questions, like, well, what kind of eyeballs? And I'm glad, because now I'm gonna call a tie an eyeball from now on.
The squints and the brights and the I love the code. I love it.
So I'm totally using that. So because, like, I want to see in our within our circle of Star Wars fans who can relate to us.
Who knows what that is? Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to your point, I was on Wedge on this one because, like, it seemed like the plan was they weren't given enough details to this plan, so quickly he was already in question of, like, we're gonna go into this. This is basically a suicide mission for Rogue Squadron. You just want us. You're using us as a tool, and, like, I don't think I believe in Wedge's heart at this point. He was like, I know that my gut feelings that's what this Bothan is saying, to just use us, and so therefore now he's like, what got into me was like, or what I read of it was that Wedge was gonna rebel against his his higher officers, like, or his superiors, and I was just like, yo, go for it. Then what do we see at the end of the chapter? He's like, yo, get Corrin out of military jail. Forgot what the word that is. Get him out of there, and then I need everybody in Rogue Squadron, and we need to get together. I think what he's gonna do, he's gonna get all his pilots. It's like, hey, everything from the past, put that behind you right now, and we're gonna formulate within these 2 weeks, like, we need a, like, we're gonna stick to the plan, but we're gonna formulate a plan B. Things go sour for us, because I think what they were relating to a lot was the it was the second Death Star, where it's like they came out of hyperspace right into a trap, and it was the Emperor's trap. And I think that's where Wedge took his experience from that battle, and was just like, no, I can't have Rogue Squadron go into this type of into this trap, like, with this much detail into this plan. And so he was like, I'm not going to do that. I've already lost a few pilots in this war, whether it be up in space or or down in the ground, kind of thing. So
I like that he put his foot down.
Wedge is really putting his foot down. He's taking care of his squadron, looking first and keeping his squadron first. And as if you call me a leader, like, that's my leadership skills. Like, I'm gonna make sure that we're not like, this is why I like plans that are set by the book, because then we don't deviate from, like, what was said off the fly, and then have to go on like type of luck. Like I don't like, so to go back to the last question too, I really don't believe in luck as I talk about it. It's more of like, I like being precise, I like being accurate, and then I execute. That's how life should be. Execute, my leaders.
Hashtag execute. We are blowing up the internet with all of our inspiration today.
Oh boy.
We are.
And I love that Akbar took his side too and was
Right?
just like, I got your back, Wedge. Love that, Akbar.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was really nice to read. I was like, yeah, it's bros before hoes.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. That was a fun
You didn't
discussion.
answer the question though.
Oh,
Yeah.
crap, I didn't. Sorry.
What do you think's gonna happen at Black Moon?
Sorry, I'm so used to sometimes just not answering them, just getting you guys to answer.
For shame.
Pretty sure I didn't answer one or two of them today, so it happens. But oh Lord, I don't know. I feel like we need something big to happen in this book. That's just that's just how books are. And it's Star Wars. It's been way too tame so far. So I'm getting a little suspicious. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to go through with this and they're not going to give people relevant details until super last minute. And even then probably like give people different bits of information. It's going to be the biggest hoodoo show. And I'm pretty sure we're going to experience some more people dying because it's Star Wars and their luck is going to run out. I hate saying that, but that's just the cold, hard truth of war. And, I kept thinking about, I think in the Clone Wars, they said how much harder it is to be the one that survives. And I'm just like, I know that people are going to die and the ones that are surviving are going to have a hard time with it. And I don't think it's going to go that well. And I can't wait to see how it challenges the strength of the characters.
And to be clear, I 100% do not remember what happens. So,
okay, good.
Like,
good.
I'm
You're
legit going into this like, oh my gosh, are they going to be okay?
Okay, good. You're going to be surprised with us.
I will be surprised with you all over again. Wow. So, yeah, those were exciting chapters that we covered, and it's all building up to something crazy. I think we all know something crazy is going to go down, whether they come out on the other side of this, intact or in shambles. I don't know, but I'm rooting for you. I love my rogues. I love my rogues. And Wedge and Akbar and everybody. Come on, guys. And I'm even the Y-Wing guys are growing on me. I'm like, oh, they're kind of precious with their little pigs. Love them. So next week, our assignment before the next episode is to read chapters 25 to 32. And then after that, we've got one more week until we finish this book. So we are powering through it. So yes, one more time, 25 to 32 for next week. So let's be working on that. And I know Jasmine's going to come at us with some thought-provoking questions. So that is it for this week for X-Wing Rogue Squadron. And thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our discussions, and I hope you'll leave your comments or any other questions or your answers to our questions down below. And don't forget to hashtag all the hashtags for tonight.
What character do you think is going to say Newcom Link who dis, and who would they say it to?
So there we go. Yeah, thank you guys. Another great week, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Sexy
Wookiees!
Wookiees!
Yes.